Either time is your enemy and you're always fighting it, or time is your friend and you take advantage of every opportunity. And so maybe you're on a journey where time has been your enemy and you're learning to make it your friend. I know I'm on that journey. And time is becoming my friend where it's been my enemy. And I'm learning to relax into this journey and accept the fact that I've been given this gift of every day and every moment. And I'm not living in the regret of what happened yesterday, but I'm choosing to embrace the time I've been given right now. One of the ways that we take back control of our life is understanding this dimension of time. So let me talk about time. The power of self-determination causes us to respect time. Let me put it another way. Every person is given the same 24 hours in every day. Every single one of us are given the same 24 hours in every day. What you do with that time is determined by you. You're the one that makes the decision of what happens between 12 a.m. of one day and 12 a.m. of the next day. Let me read a verse, Ephesians 5 and verse 15. Therefore consider carefully how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, taking advantage of every opportunity because the days are evil. Taking advantage of every opportunity. Some of you know that verse from the King James as redeeming the time. Redeeming the time is a nice phrase, but this is a more accurate translation. Taking advantage of every opportunity. Probably redeeming the time actually meant that back in the 1600s when the King James was written. Sometimes it's not that the translation is wrong, it's just that words change their meaning over time. But anyhow, I'm emphasizing the fact that how do we redeem the time? We redeem the time by taking advantage of every opportunity. The power of self-determination causes us to respect time because the decisions we make and how we use our time actually affects what ends up on the canvas of our life. And you need to have a healthy fear of that because that's how consequential your decisions about your life are. That's how consequential your decisions about your time are. They do affect what ends up on the canvas of your life. And because the consequences of that are so significant, it gives us a healthy fear. It gives us a healthy respect about time and the gift of time and how we use it. Either time is your enemy and you're always fighting it, or time is your friend and you take advantage of every opportunity. And so maybe you're on a journey where time has been your enemy and you're learning to make it your friend. I know I'm on that journey. And time is becoming my friend where it's been my enemy. And I'm learning to relax into this journey and accept the fact that I've been given this gift of every day and every moment. And I'm not living in the regret of what happened yesterday, but I'm choosing to embrace the time I've been given right now. You know, if you live in regret, you actually get robbed of today. And so one of the ways to redeem time, one of the ways to take advantage of every opportunity is actually to become present. And sometimes the first thing we need to do to become present is actually to get healed from the past. It's not wrong to focus on the past. It's just we don't want the past to control us forever. We focus on the past because we bring it into the present so that God can heal it. We bring it into the now and we say, God, this pain, because if something's happened to you in the past, it's not stuck in the past. Actually, the pain is in the present. That pain has come with you. You say, God, I bring you my past, and I bring you the pain of the past, and I bring it before you, and I ask that you would heal it. You might go on a journey of several years, maybe even several decades, getting healed from the trauma and the tragedy and the things you've been through. But it's a journey that's worthy of your time, because once you're healed from the past, you're able to live in the present far more. And when we live in the present, then we're able to see the opportunities and the things that we have. Even if you have pain from the past, you can still actually live in the present and go the journey of healing. Either time is your enemy and you're always fighting it, or time is your friend and you take advantage of every opportunity. Whether time has mastery over you or whether you have mastery over time is your choice. Well, let's say that again. Whether time has mastery over you or whether you have mastery over time is your choice. That's great respect God's given you. He's given you great respect. He's given you that choice. You say, well, I don't want it. I want him to make the choice for me. No. That means he highly esteems you. He's given you that choice. So let's get practical. How many of you would like me to get practical? Let's not just talk in abstract terms here. Let's get really practical. I'm going to talk about two things to do with time. The first one is about being on time, and the second one is about anxiety. Okay, being on time. Question, are you always late? Are you always late? Well, you don't have to be. Amen. Let's end this. No, that's a profound revelation, right? Are you always late? Hey, sometimes we're late. I'm just talking about, are you always late? You always struggle to be, most of the time you struggle to be on time. Well, here's the truth. You don't actually have to be. You have to find out why you're always late. You have to find out the why behind it. You have to find out why you're always late and then make the changes so that you can be on time. Now, I'm not trying to make anybody feel condemned here. That's not my issue. I want you to take back control of your life. And one of the main ways you take back control of your life, one of the most significant ways, is you gain mastery over time. And you don't let time control you. You begin to control time. And I'm sorry, but if you don't have mastery over time, you won't be able to take back control of your life in the fullest sense. So that's why this is important. Being on time gives you authority over time. Being on time gives you authority over time. Time becomes your friend rather than your enemy. Instead of making justifications and excuses that take you nowhere, start taking your life back. It's your choice. It's, most people, this is just my personality, this is just how I am. And once again, I'm not talking about condemnation here. I'm not trying to be heavy on anybody. I'm just talking about you personally taking back control of your life and considering maybe the justifications and excuses that stop you from actually doing that. So instead of making those justifications and excuses, which end up taking you nowhere, simply start taking your life back. Free advice from Pastor Nathan at the start of 2025. I want your 2025 to count. I really do. I want it to count for you. I want it to count for us. Okay, moving on. Number 2, anxiety. Another question. Are you always anxious? Are you always anxious? It's probably true to acknowledge that we're anxious most of the time. It's just the level that changes, and we become conscious of our anxiety when it reaches a higher level, and then we feel really burnt out when we're conscious of it all the time because it takes all our energy, right? But often we have this low level of anxiety that we're not even that conscious of. Are you always anxious? Anxiety is based on uncertainty about the future. It's based on uncertainty about the future. Fear of bad things happening means future time becomes your enemy. Before you've even entered into that future time, it's already become your enemy because fear of bad things happening. Fear of bad things happening means future time becomes your enemy, and if the bad things don't happen, the anxiety has robbed you of the present time. I'm being philosophical here today, but I'm trying to help you get in the grid of time. Sometimes language helps you understand a concept and helps you gain control of it. And so let me read that again, and the emphasis on future time and present time. Fear of bad things happening means future time becomes your enemy, and if the bad things don't happen, the anxiety has robbed you of the present time. How many of you would like to shoot anxiety in the head because it's robbing you of a lot? Well, I'm going to give you some profound wisdom here. This may sound familiar. You have to find out why you are anxious. It's not rocket science. You have to find out why you are anxious. How many of you stop to actually ask, why am I so anxious about this? What's actually going on? Now you can actually interact with God about something and maybe process something simply because you ask the question why. You have to find out why you're anxious and make changes to minimize your anxiety. Okay, let me read a really well-known verse here. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 6. Do not be anxious about anything. Hey, great advice, Paul. Do not be anxious about anything. Like, would you tell us how? Do not be anxious about anything. Instead, at least we're getting a solution here. In every situation, through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, tell your requests to God, and the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And some of you say, well, the more I pray, the more anxious I get. Well, might I suggest there's another way to pray? So find the way to pray where you end up in the peace of God. Sometimes you might pray and get more anxious, but you actually keep praying and you come to that place where you connect with the peace of God. Hey, that's good. Once again, I'm not going to condemn you. God doesn't have an issue with us being anxious before him. That doesn't faze him at all. In fact, he'd rather you take your anxiety to him. He'd rather you flip out to him than run off and try and cope with it 100 different other ways. But, there is a way to pray. And if your praying to God doesn't bring you into the peace of God, then here's a simple prayer to help you. God, teach me how to pray in the way Paul's talking about. Because every time you ask him to help you in any way, he will help you. Over time, things will begin to shift and change. So maybe you have to learn to pray in a new way. I know sometimes people pray and they get more and more anxious the more they pray. I'm just telling you, there is a way to pray where you actually encounter the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. I'm on that journey. I have to admit, I'm definitely on that journey. I want to live in the peace of God. But that anxiety thing jumps up and grabs a hold of far too much of my time. So I'm learning to be a student of the peace of God in this whole process. You have to find out why you're anxious and make changes to minimize your anxiety. The opposite of anxiety is peace, and it is the peace of God that causes us to crush Satan under our feet. Romans 6 verse 20, for the God of peace will soon crush Satan under our feet. He will crush Satan under our feet, the God of peace. So one of the biggest keys to winning any war is the peace of God. Because if you're trying to fight from a foundation of anxiety, the enemy's already got an advantage over you. That's why you go to war with your anxiety and you feel like the rug gets pulled out from under you. Often the warfare is about encountering the peace of God that surpasses understanding. If you go to war from that foundation of peace, even knowing that God's got everything in his hands, that changes the way you pray, right? You say, God, it doesn't feel like it, but I trust you because you tell me that everything is in your hands. And that begins to take you on a journey toward the peace of God. I often say that we're sovereign, but God is supremely sovereign. And so when we say he's supremely sovereign, that means he's in control of everything. He's in charge. Overall, our sovereignty is this big. It's puny. Our sovereignty is over our little world, our little kingdom. You get to make decisions about your life. And that's about the extent of your sovereignty. Unless you're seated with Christ, then there's a much greater authority. But your sovereignty is over your life. But he's supremely sovereign overall. When you realize he's supremely sovereign, nothing phases you. Nothing phases God. He's supremely sovereign. Let the peace of God that surpasses all understanding guard your heart and guard your mind. And this is how you redeem time and how you prevent anxiety from robbing you of time. You see, time was made for you. Rather than treat time as an enemy, you might have to train yourself, because often we have things that we say and ways that we think that reinforce the fact that time is your enemy. Time is not your enemy. Time is your gift. It's been given to you. And even though we only might have 70, 80 fleeting years, according to the Psalms, even though we might only have a brief lifespan on this earth, this is the dot, and it has consequences for the line. This has eternal consequences. It's a profound gift that we've been given. And so time is not an enemy. Time is a friend. You want me to back that up with Bible? I'll gladly do that for you. Acts chapter 17 and verse 26. From one man he made every nation of the human race to inhabit the entire earth, determining their set times and the fixed limits of the places where they would live. God has already set the time for you. It's a gift. It was made for you. And God only gives good gifts. So this involves, for many of you, a change in your perception. You can choose to make time your friend. Once again, this is a journey I'm on. I think that time is, what have I done with my life? Time is running out. Several decades of my life have already gone. And once again, it's so easy to fall into this trap that time is my enemy. And I have to step back and say, well, no, time is a gift and time is my friend. I have to change my perception. Say this in living to yourself. Time is my friend, not my enemy. Particularly when you're feeling stressed and distressed and anxious. Time is my friend, it's not my enemy. Put that thing back in its place and speak the truth into the situation. That's the beginning of redeeming time. Time was made for you. When you realize that time was made for you and you turn up on time, you have nothing to fear. When you realize that time was made for you and you turn up on time, and I'm talking about turning up in time for the different seasons of your life, you have nothing to fear. However, this doesn't mean you won't have plenty to overcome. Just because you're turning up on time and you're in the right season and you've got time as your friend, that doesn't mean there isn't going to be challenges, not at all. In fact, probably a good sign that you are in the right time is that you are facing challenges, because the purpose of this earth is that we become overcomers, and you don't become an overcomer if there isn't something to overcome. One of the first things you might need to overcome is treating time as an enemy. If you overcome the perception that time is your enemy, you might actually begin to get in the race and redeem time and start taking advantage of opportunities that are right in front of you. You might start painting the canvas of your life in a different way and living the life that God created for you and that He purchased through His death and burial and resurrection. He paid for this life you get to live with His own blood. That's how valuable it is to Him. And He's chosen you to live a life. I don't mean just live a life. I mean live a life. He's chosen you to live a life. Wouldn't you like to live the life He chose for you? Hallelujah. It all comes back to something so simple of choosing to make time your friend and not your enemy. I don't care if you're 70, 80, 90 years old. You can still choose to make time your friend. You can make the last moments of your life count for eternity in a profound way. Better to make time your friend in the last seconds of your life than not at all.